بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الرحمن
Au nom d'Allah, le tout miséricordieux, le très miséricordieux. Le tout miséricordieux.
علم القرآن
Il a enseigné le Coran.
خلق الإنسان
Il a créé l'homme.
علمه البيان
Il lui a appris à s'exprimer clairement.
الشمس والقمر بحسبان
Le soleil et la lune évoluent selon un calcul minutieux.
والسماء رفعها ووضع الميزان
Et quant au ciel, il l'a élevé bien haut, et il a établi la balance,
ألا تطغوا في الميزان
afin que vous ne transgressiez pas dans la pesée.
والأرض وضعها للأنام
Quant à la terre, il l'a étendue pour les êtres vivants.
فيها فاكهة والنخل ذات الأكمام
Il s'y trouve des fruits, et aussi les palmiers aux fruits recouverts d'enveloppes,
والحب ذو العصف والريحان
tout comme les grains dans leurs balles et les plantes aromatiques.
فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان
Lequel donc des bienfaits de votre Seigneur nierez-vous?
خلق الإنسان من صلصال كالفخار
Il a créé l'homme d'argile sonnante comme la poterie.
وخلق الجان من مارج من نار
Et il a créé les djinns de la flamme d'un feu sans fumée.
فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان
Lequel donc des bienfaits de votre Seigneur nierez-vous?
رب المشرقين ورب المغربين
Seigneur des deux levants et Seigneur des deux couchants.
فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان
Lequel donc des bienfaits de votre Seigneur nierez-vous?
وله الجوار المنشآت في البحر كالأعلام
À lui appartiennent les vaisseaux élevés sur la mer comme des montagnes.
فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان
Lequel donc des bienfaits de votre Seigneur nierez-vous?
كل من عليها فان
Tout ce qui est sur elle, la terre, doit disparaître.
ويبقى وجه ربك ذو الجلال والإكرام
Seule subsistera la face, Waj, de ton Seigneur, plein de majesté et de noblesse.
فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان
Lequel donc des bienfaits de votre Seigneur nierez-vous?
يسأله من في السماوات والأرض كل يوم هو في شأن
Ceux qui sont dans les cieux et la terre l'implorent. Chaque jour il accomplit une œuvre nouvelle.
فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان
Lequel donc des bienfaits de votre Seigneur nierez-vous?
سنفرغ لكم أيها الثقلان
Nous allons bientôt entreprendre votre jugement, ô vous les deux charges, hommes et djinns.
Voici les témoignages officiels de militaires et hauts gradés des armées dans le monde sur les ovnis de l'armée islamique des djinns musulmans, dont celui de l'amiral Lord Norton. Ancien chef d'état-major de la défense, amiral 5 étoiles de la Royal Navy et président du comité militaire de l'OTAN. Il me semble que l'incident de Bentwaters est un cas classique une intrusion apparente dans notre espace aérien et même un atterrissage dans notre pays a été observé par des personnes très sérieuses. Au sein de l'armée, des personnes responsables faisant un travail responsable. Bentwaters est dans un sens un point de repère sur la façon de ne pas traiter ces questions à l'avenir. Je sais un peu de choses sur l'incident de Bentwaters, il n'y a que deux explications pour ce qui s'est passé cette nuit-là. La première explication est que les gens concernés ont prétendu qu'un objet venant droit de l'atmosphère terrestre a atterri dans leur base aérienne. Ils sont arrivés et sont restés là. Ils ont inspecté le site et l'ont photographié. Le lendemain, ils ont effectué des analyses du sol où ils se trouvaient et il y avait des traces d'émissions radioactives. Ils ont rapporté ceci et l'ont envoyé à notre ministère de la Défense. La citation ci-dessus a été émise par le amiral Lord Norton, ancien chef d'état-major de la Défense. Amiral 5 étoiles de la Royal Navy et président du comité militaire de l'OTAN concernant ce qui est connu comme l'incident Bentwaters. C'est un incident qui a eu lieu à Rendlesham Forest et reste un événement très important et l'un des cas d'observation d'ovni les plus controversés. Car le témoignage militaire ainsi que la documentation militaire maintiennent qu'un tel événement s'est produit. La région abrite des armes nucléaires. Un fait qui a été réfuté pendant des années par les autorités, mais qui a été ensuite admis comme était vrai. Norton fait partie des centaines et plus de témoins militaires dans le monde entier qui viennent témoigner sur la réalité des visites des djinns musulmans. Il s'est exprimé ainsi. Il y a des objets dans notre atmosphère qui sont techniquement à des milliers d'années d'avance de tout ce que nous pouvons déployer. Nous n'avons aucun moyen de les empêcher de venir ici. Et il existe une possibilité sérieuse que des individus en provenance de notre univers parallèle à notre galaxie, la Voie lactée, ayant rendu visite à notre dimension depuis des milliers d'années. Cela dit, il nous appartient de savoir si ces personnes seront dangereuses à l'avenir ou de nos jours, elles pourraient devenir hostiles. À nous de découvrir qui ils sont, d'où ils viennent, et ce qu'ils veulent. Elles devraient être l'objet d'une enquête scientifique rigoureuse et non pas le sujet de raillerie par les journaux tabloïds. La réponse. C'est l'armée islamique des djinns musulmans ayant le pouvoir qu'Allah leur a donné de désactiver tout système de communication et tout système de défense militaire terrestre, spatiale, nucléaire, maritime et aérien des Nations-Unis. Il y a des exemples partout dans le monde. La même chose s'est produite en Russie, avec même des articles de Wikileaks intitulés « Objets volants non identifiés en Algérie », fournissant des détails concernant le secrétaire général du ministère de la Défense, le colonel Abdelhamid Latrèche, et son intérêt pour les machines étranges qui avaient manœuvré au-dessus de l'espace aérien algérien ces dernières semaines. Le document décrit comment ces étranges objets ont été vus près d'installations militaires par des personnes responsables. La liste des personnes responsables est bloquée et indique utilisation officielle limitée parce que les personnes en question sont des militaires. Des centaines de ces personnes se sont présentées publiquement et voici un exemple. Le professeur Robert Jacobs, qui était l'officier chargé de l'instrumentation optique à la base aérienne de Vandenberg, était chargé de superviser la photographie instrumentale de chaque missile. À l'époque, les missiles nucléaires étaient appelés missiles balistiques interpays CBM parce que la plupart d'entre eux ont explosé lors du lancement. Leur travail consistait également à fournir des données sur les raisons de leur explosion. afin qu'ils puissent fournir aux ingénieurs une photographie séquentielle d'ingénierie suffisante pour qu'ils puissent voir ce qui n'allait pas avec le missile. Ce que nous avons photographié là m'a affecté pour le restant de mes jours et a eu un impact énorme sur ma compréhension de l'univers et de la manipulation gouvernementale de nos esprits. Un autre incident s'est produit à la base aérienne de Malmstrom dans le Montana et c'est l'un des événements les plus remarquables dans cette histoire des rencontres d'ovnis avec l'armée. Ça s'est produit en mars 1967 dans une base dans laquelle était entreposée d'une grande quantité d'armes nucléaires. Des témoins ont vu un ovni rouge et brillant planer juste devant l'ouverture principale. Après cela, tous les missiles nucléaires ont été désactivés et étaient complètement hors service. Voici un extrait du capitaine Robert Sala, l'un des hommes impliqués dans l'incident, qui a donné son témoignage lors de la conférence Citizens on Disclosure qui a eu lieu il y a quelques années, au cours de laquelle plusieurs universitaires, politiciens et ex-militaires se sont réunis devant plusieurs congressistes pour discuter de la question et ce qui s'y est passé. De nombreuses théories existent. Lorsque des témoins militaires se sont rassemblés au sein du club de la presse nationale en 2010, le sentiment partagé entre eux était que ces ovnis et que quiconque les dirige nous envoie un message clair que nous jouons avec le feu. Surtout quand les populations maudites à la ville de Paris avec ses services sociaux et ses services de police et de justice ont rendu possible de s'en prendre sur une petite fillette de 5 ans. Défense après l'avoir éloignée de son père qui protégeait sa fille contre les populations maudites de l'humanité qui ont pratiqué actes de torture et agression sexuelle sur sa fillette Marwa. Alors c'est l'humanité tout entière qui a joué avec le feu. Anne Hidalgo et ton puissant lobby d'homosexuels est athée puis les populations d'origine arabe et noire ont touché à ma fillette Marwa. Alors, c'est la planète Terre ainsi que son espace aérien et spatial qui va être sans défense après que les armées de djinns musulmans vont sur ordre d'Allah désactiver tout système de communication et tout système de défense militaire terrestre, spatiale, nucléaire, maritime et aérien des Nations-Unis pour ensuite ouvrir la brèche dans l'espace-temps afin d'y laisser sortir des êtres malveillants qui vont tout détruire. Sauf les vrais musulmans qui n'étaient pas corrompus, qui faisaient les bonnes actions, qui étaient honnêtes et qui avaient la crainte d'Allah en lui étant totalement soumis et soumises en héritant de la terre après l'avoir purifiée. Comme l'atteste le témoignage d'un autre fonctionnaire qui a passé sa vie à travailler avec des armes nucléaires et des installations d'armes nucléaires offre une explication différente basée sur une information gardée secrète. Son nom est le colonel Ross Dedrickson, et il a dit que lui et son équipe ont constamment reçu des rapports de visite par des ovnis sur les installations de stockage et même certaines des installations de fabrication. Tout cela en permanence. Il a poursuivi en disant qu'ils ont constaté que les rapports étaient peu nombreux. Mais les gens de la sécurité étaient réticents à en signaler beaucoup parce que le protocole et la bureaucratie étaient impliqués dans les rapports, ils ont simplement évité de faire des rapports. Nous avons observé que les ovnis étaient très intéressés par les installations de confection d'armes nucléaires qu'ils rendaient visite. 2 ogives nucléaires qui avaient été lancées dans l'espace ont été détruites par les djinns musulmans. Après avoir mentionné ce qui précède, il continue d'utiliser l'incident de Vandenberg mentionné plus haut dans l'article comme exemple, où ils ont photographié le missile et l'ovni tandis que le premier sortait de l'atmosphère terrestre. Il ajoute: il y a eu un incident quand nous avons fait exploser une arme nucléaire dans le Pacifique et la perturbation qu'elle a causée a coupé toutes les communications de la base dans le Pacifique pendant un certain nombre d'heures où aucune transmission radio n'était disponible à aucun moment. J'ai appris plus tard que c'était une des choses à laquelle les extraterrestres étaient très préoccupés parce que cela aurait affecté notre ionosphère et en fait, Les vaisseaux étaient incapables de fonctionner correctement en raison du champ magnétique dont ils dépendaient.
The speed was extraordinary.
It looks like a flying saucer.
I made it my job to get it on tape.
Something was out there. Something overpowered the satellite.
Franklin, we see a long line, a couple of star-like things, and a lot of things swimming in the foreground. Can you describe what you're seeing?
If it is a hoax, it was done very well.
It just disappeared, vanished. It's gone. It's gone. I don't know.
How to move 100 miles in a matter of a second or two.
The velocity is impossible.
What I saw in that footage blew my mind.
The UFOs have been caught on tape all over America. UFO researchers have wondered for years what NASA cameras may have managed to capture in outer space.
Franklin, we see a long line.
Amazingly, these shocking video sequences shown here for the first time on television might prove once and for all that NASA knows UFOs are navigating just above the Earth and dangerously close to our space shuttle missions.
When I saw the tape, I realized that I was looking at very exciting, incredible footage that has never before been seen by the public.
David Sarita, a former Defense Department subcontractor, has been studying NASA's possible interest in UFOs for over 15 years. And he believes this incident, which has since become legendary on the internet as the Tether incident, may prove UFOs are real. February 25th, 1996, 100 miles above Africa, an experimental satellite system attached to a 12-mile-long electricity-conducting tether suddenly breaks. Within moments, the satellite drifts almost 100 miles away. Nitrogen gas gathers around the tether, effectively turning it into a gigantic fluorescent light in space. Incredibly, it seems to attract some strange company.
You see a swarm of what may be UFOs flying around it, and then we see the camera zoom in on these objects, and we see giant discs passing behind this tether.
But the astronauts involved in the mission seem to have a more mundane explanation.
There's a little bit of debris that kind of flies with us.
But is it simply debris, as is often claimed by NASA when looking at alleged UFOs in space? Watch what happens when the cameras zoom in.
What we're seeing on the screen here appears very small, but if you blew this up, you would see that these objects are enormous in size. This UFO here, I measured approximately 2 to 3 miles in diameter against the 12-mile length of the tether. If it's further behind the tether than I think, it could be much larger.
The potential size of these UFOs is clearly mind-boggling. And according to Sarita, so is the advanced technology behind them. Would a piece of space junk pulsate in a regular pattern as we see here?
This spiral, to me, suggests a gravity wave that is stronger than light. This, to me, is proof in quantum physics that these UFOs are utilizing very advanced forms of gravity energy and zero-point energy.
Sarita believes that our space program does not yet possess this technology, nor the capability to perform the startling maneuvers displayed by these UFOs caught on tape during another shuttle mission.
If you look over here, you're going to see something that a meteorite cannot do. You're going to see a high-speed, angular turn, and the object continues. The G-forces on a turn like this would flatten any astronaut into a pancake.
Could all these objects be written off as mere space debris, as NASA contends? If that's so, then how can they explain this eye-opening footage of UFOs forming above the Earth?
As these UFOs reach their positions in the circle, they light up, showing incredible intelligence. There we see a UFO light up right in the middle of the circle. This shows intelligence.
Whatever the UFOs videotaped by NASA cameras are, there's no doubt that back down on Earth, they continue to be filmed over every major country around the globe. February 3rd, 1995. During the early morning hours, a woman tapes this mysterious craft hovering above Beijing, China. Notice how the glowing object floats, making no sharp turns or sudden maneuvers. While some dismiss the craft as a blimp, airline pilot and UFO researcher Jim Coran is not so sure.
I'm quite aware of what a blimp looks like, and these advertising blimps are in many areas around the world. And I have checked with the blimp company that supplies many of the advertising blimps. We also did checked with the control tower, the radar, military and civilian over there, and there were no registered aircraft in the area at that time, blimp or otherwise. So I'm not quite sure what it is.
UFO.
May 29th, 1993, Stuttgart, Germany. Halfway around the world, then 15-year-old Kai Metzger recorded a craft remarkably similar to the one seen over Beijing, China.
I saw this thing and I thought, oh my God, what's that? And because of that, I took my camera and shoot it, and I was really afraid of it.
What are we to make of these unusual-looking craft videotaped in the skies above China and Germany? Are they blimps or something much more inexplicable? Dr. Bruce Maccabee believes he has the answer.
We have studied a number of videos with this sort of an image, and in some cases have been able to absolutely prove that this is an image of a blimp which has lights on the inside, a transparent skin. This shape right here matches very closely, or perhaps exactly, with the known shapes of internally lighted blimps.
Derby, England, March 13th, 1995. This unidentified flying object was caught on tape for nearly an hour. The strangely shaped object was described as being completely silent. A few years later, in August 1998, a large metallic object was caught on tape again in England, this time in the village of Silbury Hill, an area famous for UFO sightings. The noiseless craft was said to hover in the sky for 2 to 3 minutes before disappearing, and then it returned, and then blinked out.
We'll begin with Captain Roger Solis. Am I pronouncing that right, sir?
Solis is correct. Thank you. Ms. Kilpatrick and panel, I would first like to briefly describe the incident that I experienced in March 1967. At that time, I was a first lieutenant, U.S. Air Force, stationed at Malmstrom Air Force Base, Montana. I was trained and assigned duties as a missile launch officer for the Minuteman I intercontinental ballistic missile. I was designated Deputy Missile Combat Crew Commander and part of a two-man crew. My commander at that time was Lieutenant Frederick Mywold. He's now deceased. I will briefly review the diagrams showing the Launch Control Center, the launch facility. We will show you shortly when one of the other speakers present. We were on duty inside the Oscar Launch Control Center, a concrete capsule located about 60 feet underground. We had operational control over 10 Minuteman nuclear missiles. Each missile operates independently and has its own source of primary and backup power systems. It is important for you to note that the command and control for these missiles was entirely located within the capsule. There was absolutely no means to affect any of the missile systems from outside the capsule. On the evening of March 24, 1967, while my commander was on a scheduled rest break, I received the first of 2 phone calls from my topside flight security controller, FSC. The first call was to report unidentified lighted objects flying above the facility. They reported they were flying at very high speeds, making very odd maneuvers, nothing that an aircraft could do, and they just wanted to report it. I didn't pay much attention to that first call, and I basically hung up on them. Minutes later, the FSC phoned again and reported in a very agitated state that there was a large oval-shaped object hovering above the front gate. It was a red, pulsating, lighted object, approximately 30, 40 feet in diameter. The best he could describe it. It was difficult to distinguish a structural part of it on the inside, except that it was a glowing red, pulsating object. He had all the men out there with their weapons drawn. He wanted me to tell him what to do next. I, of course, told him something like, make sure nothing comes inside the perimeter fence. Of course, our primary duty was to secure those nuclear missiles. Immediately after that call, I started to inform my commander about the incident. As I started to inform my commander, our missiles began to shut down. We lost alert status on all 10 missiles while this object was above our facility. When we queried the fault system, all missiles reported guidance and control system failure. We had a way of querying faults within the system called VERSA. It's a voice-activated system, and we're getting channels 9 and 12, which is guidance and control system. At the same time, we had indicator lights showing security violations at 2 of the launch facilities where the missiles were physically located. While Lieutenant Mywald reported the incident to the Wing Command Post, I phoned upstairs and directed the security alert team to be sent to those launch facilities with security violations to investigate those indications. At that time, the FSC reported to me that the object had flown off at high speed. When the security alert team arrived at the affected LFs, and I'll brief LFs meaning launch facilities, they reported seeing the object hovering over those sites. As they approached closer to the object, they lost all communications with the FSC. After speaking to the Wing Command Post, Lieutenant Mywald informed me that the same thing happened at another flight. At that time, I assumed that meant that night, but it turns out what he meant was it happened at another flight about a week earlier, and that's the Echo flight incident, which I'll talk about shortly. Right now, I'd like you to hear the portion of the conversation I had with Colonel Mywald, who retired as a full colonel, and I had this conversation sometime in 1996. Can we play the first audio, please?
Back and forth because they were doing maintenance on, I don't know, the guidance cans or something, and the maintenance crews were staying over, and there was security and maintenance on site on both, on 2 of the 10 sites. And when the first one went down, I talked to the security out there. They had reported this UFO hovering over the site, and I said, "Yeah, right. What are you guys drinking out there?" And we struck strike teams to both of the sites that had been occupied. And for both strike teams, I didn't tell them what we had heard, via the LF radio. And I told them to go to get within a mile of the site and call back in on the VHF. And they both had reported it too. So we had 2 maintenance crews, 2 security troops on site, and 2 strike teams all reporting it.
Is that right?
Yep.
Do you remember any of the names of any of those guys?
Nope.
You don't?
Sorry, there's a little mix-up there. That was Colonel Walter Fiegel, who was the Deputy Missile Crew Commander at Echo Flight. Can we have the Mywald audio, please?
Any reports from their field about UFOs?
So I remember the 2 guards that had gone out to one of the sites. Finally got back scared to death, and we had to relieve them of duty.
Yeah. Oh, you mean our guards?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and rodent control type.
Oh, I see.
They had gone out to one of the sites, one of the LFs, and on the way back they lost radio contact, and we ended up having to send them back to base earlier. I'm not sure what happened. I don't think they ever returned to guard duty.
And what were they scared about?
Well, they had seen these crazy things. Then
oh, they did?
Yeah.
They reported that to you?
They reported it to the topside guy.
Oh, the topside guy, that's right. Okay. 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 Well, interesting, don't you think?
Yeah.
After we were relieved by another crew the next morning, I arrived back at base.
Mr. Salas.
Yes.
In a couple sentences, would you tell us what we just heard? The conversation.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it was a little confusing. The first conversation you heard was Colonel Walter Fiegel, now retired. As far as I know, he's still alive. He's authorized me to use that audio, by the way. It was a recording of a telephone conversation I had with him in 1996. And he described the fact that he had, on 2 of his launch facilities, he had maintenance crews out there and security guards. And when the first missile went down in his flight, they reported that there were UFOs overhead. As the missiles went down. He lost all 10 of his missiles in rapid succession. That incident occurred on March 16th, 1967.
He launched them and they went down?
No, the missiles were not launched. He just reported, they reported that the objects were above them, and at that point the missiles started shutting down. Yeah, disabled. The second audio recording you heard was that of Colonel Mywald talking about the fact that we had security light violations and we had to send guards out to one or more of the LFs. And they reported seeing the UFOs again. By the way, I've got more audio available that's where Colonel Mywald supports my entire statement about what occurred. So he was consistent on supporting this for up until the time he passed away last year. After we received relieved by another crew the next morning, right back to the base, we reported to the squadron commander's office. There we were ordered to sign pardon me, non-disclosure statements regarding our specific incident. I did sign a non-disclosure statement. Excuse me. And we were ordered not to talk to anybody about this. It was then designated a highly classified incident. At no time did we lose power during the incident. I want to emphasize, we always had electrical power. The Sensitive Information Network, SIN cables that carried the signals to the missile systems were triply shielded from electromagnetic interference. The preliminary investigation isolated the failure to the logic coupler at each missile. The logic coupler is associated with the missile guidance system. That's about the best I can explain to you what the logic coupler does. I'll refer you to a portion of the unit wing history. I believe you have documents that I supplied you with that talk about the Echo flight incident, and I'll just read part of it. It says, in the opinion of the team, was that externally generated signals caused the generation of these 2 channels and shut down the launch facilities. The possibility of this is very remote due to the fact that all 10 couplers would have to fail in the flight within a few seconds of each other. This statement confirms that signals were sent to each individual missile separately in order to disable them. From my knowledge of the operating system at the time, neither I nor the investigative team could define the method or means by which these signals were sent to disable the missiles, each in the same manner, meaning each missile failed for the same reason, guidance and control system failure. Mr. Robert Kaminsky was the Boeing team leader for the investigation of the Echo flight shutdown. In a response to our inquiry, he stated, "This kind of event is virtually impossible once the system was up and running. The team met with me to report their findings, and it was decided that the final report would have nothing significant in it to explain what happened at Echo flight."
Just one moment, Captain. We did not explain it. Just working with my congressional research assistant on the end of the table, we are going to allow 10 minutes for each of you. I'm not sure. I just got the time sign for the captain, and I don't believe that he's been talking 10 minutes, has he? He has been talking 10 minutes. Captain, can you, and since we didn't let you know ahead of time, I'm going to give you additional 3 minutes, if that's okay.
Thank you very much. I'll try to get through it as quickly as I can. After meeting with the engineers to discuss the results of their investigation, Mr. Kaminsky was notified by his supervisor that he should not submit his final report because the incident was reported to be a UFO event. Even though the Boeing company was the principal contractor for the Minuteman I missile, the report on the incident was not submitted by specific request of the Air Force. However, the Air Force did perform their own classified investigation where they identified a possible failure mode as stated above. In my opinion, we did not have the technical capability to produce a machine then or now that would be able to instigate the failure mode of these missiles identified in the unit wing history. In addition, the unidentified objects displayed the physical and flight characteristics that no known aircraft type could achieve then or now. Therefore, I have concluded these objects were non-terrestrial in origin. An important related activity ongoing, and this is important, on December 17, 1969, the official U.S. Air Force investigation into the UFO phenomenon was terminated. The principal basis for this, and you have the Air Force position on UFOs, I believe. I've given you a copy of that. The principal basis for this was termination was the evaluation of a report prepared by the University of Colorado entitled Scientific Study of Unidentified Flying Objects. In 1966, the U.S. Air Force awarded a $500,000 contract to the University of Colorado for the purpose of studying the UFO phenomenon. I'll refer to this study as the Condon investigation, for its team leader, Edward Condon. In fact, it was never intended to be a scientific study because the Air Force did not propose that any scientific hypothesis regarding the phenomena be evaluated. The Condon team relied on input and evaluations of reported UFO incidents from Air Force officers at various bases. The Condon team was, except for one individual, not authorized to review classified reports of Air Force incidents regarding the phenomenon. They were not even informed that classified UFO files existed until after the termination of their study. I have evidence supporting this. With respect to the 1967 Echo and Oscar flight UFO incidents, there was a deliberate effort to keep information about those incidents from the Condon Committee. In 1967, Dr. Roy Craig, the chief investigator for the Condon Committee, was informed by Mr. Raymond Fowler, a contractor working for Sylvania on Minuteman Electrical Systems, that the Echo flight shutdowns at Malmstrom had occurred during a UFO sighting. In October '67, he visited Malmstrom to inquire about this. Dr. Craig recalls this inquiry with Lieutenant Colonel Lewis Chase, the base operations officer at Malmstrom. After Colonel Chase and I had exchanged pleasantries in his office, this is a quotation, I asked him about the Echo incident. The colonel caught his breath and expressed surprise that I knew of it. I can't talk about that, he said. Colonel Chase had assured me that the incident had not involved a UFO. Since Colonel Chase was the last man I would doubt, when he conveyed this information, I accepted the information as factual and turned the review over to Bob Lowe, who had received, Robert Lowe was the deputy Condon, and he was the only one cleared to look at classified information. When Dr. Robert Lowe, the deputy Condon, requested the Air Force allow him to review the secret report of the Echo incident, he was informed that the report would be too highly classified to allow that review. Dr. Craig did not interview any of the many witnesses that were named to him by Ray Fowler that he could have interviewed. He did not interview either of the crews, Echo or Oscar crew. In addition, the Air Force Office of Project Blue Book was deliberately misinformed about these incidents. In a letter from Colonel James Minot, and I think you have these letters in front of you, he was right pat, Blue Book essentially. He requested Colonel Chase in June of '67, inquired of reports they had received that there were equipment malfunctions and abnormalities during the UFO sightings. The written reply from Colonel Chase stated, this office has no knowledge of equipment malfunctions and abnormalities in equipment during the period of UFO sightings. This evidence and
Captain,
the Air Force...
Captain, I think you just have a short piece to go, is that right? Just one page left.
Just very short.
Yes, sir. Please proceed.
I'm almost done.
Please proceed.
And by the way, this is a very complex case.
Absolutely. We can tell that. Yes, sir. Thank you. And we appreciate your testimony.
This is evidence that the Air Force purposefully denied the Condon investigators the knowledge that the Echo and Oscar flight shutdowns were UFO-related incidents. Since the Air Force cites this particular study as the primary reason for the official rejection of the UFO phenomenon, and claims that no UFO reported, investigated, and evaluated by the Air Force was ever an indication of threat to our national security, And in light of my own experience and others, I must conclude the U.S. Air Force was and is engaged in lying and disinforming the public about the realities of the UFO phenomenon. That's the end of my statement.
Thank you.
فانطلقا حتى إذا ركبا في السفينة خرقها قال أخرقتها لتغرق أهلها لقد جئت شيئا إمرا.
Alors les deux partirent, et après qu'ils furent montés sur un bateau, l'homme y fit une brèche.
ويسألونك عن ذي القرنين قل سأتلو عليكم منه ذكرا.
Et il t'interroge sur Dhul Qarnayn. Dis, je vais vous en citer quelques faits mémorables.
إنا مكنا له في الأرض وآتيناه من كل شيء سببا.
Vraiment, nous avons affermi sa puissance sur terre et nous lui avons donné libre voie à toute chose.
فأتبع سببا.
Il suivit donc une voie.
حتى إذا بلغ مغرب الشمس وجدها تغرب في عين حمئة ووجد عندها قوما قلنا يا ذا القرنين إما أن تعذب وإما أن تتخذ فيهم حسنا.
Et quand il eut atteint le couchant, il trouva que le soleil se couchait dans une source boueuse, et auprès d'elle, il trouva une peuplade impie. Nous dîmes, ô Dhul Qarnayn, ou tu les châties, ou tu uses de bienveillance à leur égard.
قال أما من ظلم فسوف نعذبه ثم يرد إلى ربه فيعذبه عذابا نكرا.
Il dit, quant à celui qui est injuste, nous le châtierons, ensuite il sera ramené vers son Seigneur qui le punira d'un châtiment terrible.
وأما من آمن وعمل صالحا فله جزاء الحسنى وسنقول له من أمرنا يسرا.
Et quant à celui qui croit et fait bonne œuvre, il aura en retour la plus belle récompense, et nous lui donnerons des ordres faciles à exécuter.
ثم أتبع سببا.
Puis il suivit une autre voie.
حتى إذا بلغ مطلع الشمس وجدها تطلع على قوم لم نجعل لهم من دونها سترا.
Et quand il eut atteint le levant, il trouva que le soleil se levait sur une peuplade à laquelle nous n'avions pas donné de voile pour s'en protéger.
كذلك وقد أحطنا بما لديه خبرا.
Il en fut ainsi, et nous embrassons de notre science ce qu'il détenait.
ثم أتبع سببا.
Puis il suivit une autre voie.
حتى إذا بلغ بين السدين وجد من دونهما قوما لا يكادون يفقهون قولا.
Et quand il eut atteint un endroit situé entre les deux barrières, montagnes, il trouva derrière elle une peuplade qui ne comprenait presque aucun langage.
قالوا يا ذا القرنين إن يأجوج ومأجوج مفسدون في الأرض فهل نجعل لك خرجا على أن تجعل بيننا وبينهم سدا.
Ils dirent, ô Dhul Qarnayn, les Ya'juj et les Ma'juj commettent du désordre sur terre. Est-ce que nous pourrons t'accorder un tribut pour construire une barrière entre eux et nous?
قال ما مكني فيه ربي خير فأعينوني بقوة أجعل بينكم وبينهم ردما.
Il dit, ce que mon Seigneur m'a conféré vaut mieux que vos dons. Aidez-moi donc avec votre force, et je construirai un remblai entre vous et eux.
آتوني زبر الحديد حتى إذا ساوى بين الصدفين قال انفخوا حتى إذا جعله نارا قال آتوني أفرغ عليه قطرا.
Apportez-moi des blocs de fer. Puis, lorsqu'il en eut comblé l'espace entre les deux montagnes, il dit « Soufflez ». Puis, lorsqu'il eut rendu une fournaise, il dit « Apportez-moi du cuivre fondu, que je le déverse dessus. »
فما استطاعوا أن يظهروه وما استطاعوا له نقبا.
Ainsi, ils ne purent guère l'escalader, ni l'ébrécher non plus.
قال هذا رحمة من ربي فإذا جاء وعد ربي جعله دكاء وكان وعد ربي حقا.
Il dit, c'est une miséricorde de la part de mon Seigneur, mais lorsque la promesse de mon Seigneur viendra, il le nivellera. Et la promesse de mon Seigneur est vérité.
وتركنا بعضهم يومئذ يموج في بعض ونفخ في الصور فجمعناهم جمعا.
Nous les laisserons ce jour-là déferler comme les flots les uns sur les autres, et on soufflera dans la trompe, et nous les rassemblerons tous.
وعرضنا جهنم يومئذ للكافرين عرضا.
Et ce jour-là, nous présenterons de près l'enfer aux mécréants.
الذين كانت أعينهم في غطاء عن ذكري وكانوا لا يستطيعون سمعا.
Dont les yeux étaient couverts d'un voile qui les empêchait de penser à moi, et ils ne pouvaient rien entendre non plus.
أفحسب الذين كفروا أن يتخذوا عبادي من دوني أولياء إنا أعتدنا جهنم للكافرين نزلا.
Ceux qui ont mécru, comptent-ils donc pouvoir prendre pour alliés mes serviteurs en dehors de moi? Nous avons préparé l'enfer comme résidence pour les mécréants.
قل هل ننبئكم بالأخسرين أعمالا.
Dis, voulez-vous que nous vous apprenions lesquels sont les plus grands perdants en œuvre?
الذين ضل سعيهم في الحياة الدنيا وهم يحسبون أنهم يحسنون صنعا.
Ceux dont l'effort dans la vie présente s'est égaré alors qu'ils s'imaginent faire le bien.
أولئك الذين كفروا بآيات ربهم ولقائه فحبطت أعمالهم فلا نقيم لهم يوم القيامة وزنا.
Ceux-là qui ont nié les signes de leur Seigneur ainsi que sa rencontre. Leurs actions sont donc vaines. Nous ne leur assignerons pas de poids au jour de la résurrection.
ذلك جزاؤهم جهنم بما كفروا واتخذوا آياتي ورسلي هزوا.
C'est que leur rétribution sera l'enfer pour avoir mécru et pris en raillerie mes signes, enseignements et mes messagers.
إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات كانت لهم جنات الفردوس نزلا.
Ceux qui croient et font de bonnes œuvres auront pour résidence les jardins du Firdaus, paradis.
خالدين فيها لا يبغون عنها حولا.
Où ils demeureront éternellement, sans désirer aucun changement.